Welcome to Mile High Livewires. Each week, we bring you high-energy leaders from the community to share their stories and their strategies to thrive in challenging times. My name is Matthew Ponzi. Now let's get started. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Matthew Ponzi, and today I'm here with Chris Owen, founder of Madre Coffee Collective. And Chris took a very unique path to break into the coffee business. So Chris, you've gone from working your way up the corporate ladder in a large financial investment firm to being a small business owner here in Colorado. So tell us about your journey and what made you want to start Madre Coffee Collective.
Yeah, that's a fastball question. That's a big one. But I'll try and answer it in a direct way. Like, first and foremost, I think it's such a beautiful part of the American dream to try and build something from the ground. And it's something that's near and dear to my heart. And I feel like an opportunity that we have in this country that a lot of countries don't. And so I think that it's always been a part of me, and I've always been curious about it. I learned a lot of really great skills working for an investment firm for the last 8 years. And I think that climbing a corporate ladder, managing a territory, traveling, managing clients, I think all of that taught me a lot about like how to build the sales side of the business. And then my background, through the business school was helpful on like the accounting side. But ultimately, I was covering 7 states for including Idaho, Montana, North, South Dakota, Alaska, Minnesota, Wyoming. And after, colliding with some elk and black ice across the hinterlands of Montana.
Literally.
I just kind of literally, those are 2 separate occasions.
Wow.
It got to a point where I was like, nothing is worth your life. I don't care what the title is but no, it just came to the point where the travel ultimately I was ready to move on. I bought a house in Denver in fall of 2018. And I kind of got to a point where I was ready to move on. I went to grad school for a while at DU, go Pios. And believe it or not, I was on a plane to London. And I sat talking to a guy, Matt, and we start talking about this pipe dream that I have of a coffee company. And he goes, I have an office with 50 people. Why don't you just roast some coffee and bring it in? We'll see what happens. And that guy, I've since learned, loves to try and remove barriers for people. Like, what is your dream? How do I give you almost like a risk-free look at it? And so for him, that was come in, roast some coffee, give it to the people, see if they like it. And I got home from a 2-week Europe trip, bought a little coffee roaster. He had a digital sign outside of his office that said, "Welcome Madre Coffee," with like coffee beans in a heart form, which coincidentally is my logo.
Wow. So that's wow, cool. So that's what gave you the idea for the logo?
So I was lucky enough to have a really great interaction with Fiverr. So the name itself, Madre, my mom's side of the family, like, is from Mexico a few generations back. And it's a really proud point of the family is like the matriarchal, Latin culture. And so I think that maybe subconsciously I wanted to swap my business travel for like mountain states and Dakotas and Idaho, Montana for like Central and South America. And so now my work trips, I'm going down and meeting farms. And then, we bring it back to Denver, we roast the coffee, and Fiverr helped us with the logo for literally like $15. It was incredible. As you can see, like the heart, the coffee beans right there.
Cool.
So that's kind of the quick story of it. That was about a year ago.
Wow. Awesome. So with all the competition out there, Chris, what are some of the things that you've done to separate yourselves from all the competition?
Yeah, I like to joke that we're all competitors once the coffee gets to the United States, but a lot of times we're filling a shipping container because these coffee farms want to work in shipping containers, which are 42,000 pounds. And no one coffee roaster is bringing in 42,000 pounds unless they're mega, in size. So I think when it gets here, there's a couple of things you have to do. I think it's being able to tell the stories of the farmers. That's something that we really focus on. And on each of our coffee bags, and as well as our website, you can find the farm, you can find the region, you can find the altitude, you can find the tasting profile. We try to give people a single origin experience. So these goods that we all engage with and buy online every day, as a consumer, you have the choice to try and invest in sustainability. And so we look to give people that option. So all of our coffees are from single farms where you can meet the farmer, you can learn their stories. And then we personally have met 2 out of our 4 farms so far, and we have plans to meet the other 2 as well once, of course, we can travel again.
So tell us about the difference between your sustainable food supply chain and a standard food supply chain that you would see with coffee.
Yeah, so there's something called the third wave of coffee, which says that, people are more interested now in sort of almost like a wine type approach, where you're looking for regional characteristics. You're looking for like soil characteristics. For instance, Guatemala has a lot of volcanoes. And so similar to a Malbec wine, you'll have like some more acidity in that soil, which can be tasted through the coffee. So that brought a distinction from commodity coffee. Commodity coffee was what's the most affordable coffee that we can provide in bulk to some of the large name brands. Your Folgers, for instance, is probably the biggest. And so the specialty coffee wave now said, okay, we also want to really focus on farmers and making sure that they're getting enough money. And we're only going to work with farmers that provide healthcare perhaps, or a school to their coffee pickers. And that's where you started to see more focus on the supply chain. So sustainability, I think, includes knowing your farmers, understanding how employees are treated, what benefits they have. When you get into the United States, trying to use as much compostable packaging as you can, giving it to people, trying to remove as much plastic as you can. Mm-hmm. But I think for us, it's really a focus on the farmers and the sort of the benefits to the people. Now, this topic can go as deep as you want to, because there are nations, traveling nations, that go through South America and their entire tribe picks coffee, like from basically the moment they can walk around. So I think you have to also just try to understand the cultures and respect cultures, and then try to make sure that people are still being treated fairly.
Your brand is obviously heavily influenced by travel. So tell me one of your most memorable trips and how it's influenced your business.
Yeah, so my very first coffee hunting trip, I like to call it coffee hunting because I feel like I'm like on an adventure. There was a really popular song on the radio called Guatemala by like Ray Shremmond and Sway Lee. And I love that song. And so I had also, I don't know, like at different times, I'm sure you can agree with this, there are different countries that pique your interest and maybe even call to you. Guatemala was one of those for me. And so I booked a flight down to Guatemala, which once I told one of my friends, he was like, "Can I come?" And so he came. I was like, "Sure, if you don't want to come on coffee hunt with me." Right. So we go down to Guatemala City, we land there, and then we take a taxi about 2 hours away to Antigua, which is this awesome town. It's like 9 blocks by 9 blocks, almost feels like a Colorado mountainy, kind of a resorty town. You're surrounded by 3 volcanoes too. They're active. They're like lightly active. So we just started asking around, hey, what are the best coffee shops here? Going to the coffee shops. Where are your coffee farms? Okay, renting, a little ATV and starting to go to different coffee farms. And then the owner of the hostel said, hey, I know the purchasing agent for a really large coffee farm here in Antigua. You should get to know him. And so there I am on WhatsApp. And, luckily, like the guys at the top of a lot of these do speak English. I speak Spanish, but in terms of like, real business negotiation, my preference, of course, is English.
Right.
So I make an appointment. I rent an electric yellow ATV. I ride out to this coffee farm, hoping I don't get abducted or something. And I arrive, and it's massive and it's beautiful. And the guy, Adrian, who's the host and kind of showing us around the farm, he's the 6th generation owner of this farm. And he's in his 30s. And so he starts giving us a tour. He walks us through their cupping room. And he's like, so how many pounds are you looking to purchase here, Chris? And I was like, 150. And he's used to selling shipping containers. I mean, they move hundreds of shipping containers a year. And so he was kind enough to oblige me and still let me finish the tour. But I was so out of my element. And I was also there not during harvest season, which I would go to places and they're like, why are you here? So it was really funny, but it was sort of a fearless approach to trying to really understand the supply chain. And so yeah, Adrian, I've since brought a group of Denver buyers from different coffee shops down to meet with him. And they're obviously dealing with supply chain stuff too, but that was just such a fun trip of going to a country, not knowing anyone, asking a ton of questions, booking a meeting. I've since done that in Colombia as well. And there's a couple ways you can like leverage existing supply chains and go and meet farms and still tell those stories, or you can basically operate as a farm agent and bring it back. But yeah, it's definitely an adventure being down there, and speaking Spanish helps for sure.
You guys have done a lot of events in the past to promote the business. So what are you doing recently to help your customers stay engaged and to stay in front of them?
Yeah, well, I think that having a lot more time is an opportunity to learn new skills, and that's how we've been sort of looking at this. So one thing that I did is I just committed that I'm going to learn how to use iMovie and really sit down and understand how to like just put some pictures together with some music, with some title slides, maybe even clip some different pieces of video. And that skill has been really helpful because from that point, I've gone on to make some videos that are on our website now. Our opening sort of picture gallery was created on iMovie. Our overview on the coffee club was created there. Even my mom's birthday video last week was created there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that skill I think is paying a ton of dividends. Also, just trying to learn how consumers engage more. Like consumers like to engage, like to share feedback, like to be heard, and those voices to be promoted. So we've been focusing a lot more on like highlighting our consumers. And also the coffee club has been a huge development for us because it's the opportunity to give somebody the opportunity to try different coffees from different countries from their own home. So still trying to give people a travel or a cultural experience. So there's that. And then, we'll do curbside delivery where we just like ding dong ditch, like you're back in high school, and drop it and then you run. And so that gets me out of the house a little bit. And it's been fun, man. And then we still cup all the coffees that we roast to make sure that there's consistency, and that's a really fun process that I can't wait to keep doing with people again.
Now, you guys recently made a visit to the Arvada police. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so what's been really cool is some of our clients that are like our business supply clients, they're all working from home, so they don't have any need for office coffee, but they've maintained their orders to support us, but then we'll put an order in through us and have us donate. And that's inspired us to want to donate as well. So one of the organizations called Exit Planning, Business Exit Planning, BEI is what they go by, or Exit Planning. They're down in actually right by where you are. They're off Colorado on I-25.
Yep.
And they said, hey, would you take our order and give it to a first responder? And so we kind of were trying to decide what we want to do, and we reached out to the Arvada Police Department. And sure enough, they came and they were so tickled just to get that. And so we took a photo. They're 6 feet apart, as you said, on our Instagram, Madre Coffee Collective. And then we've teamed up again to provide to some animal shelters. So Almost Home Adoptions in Arvada, we donated some coffee to those guys, and a lot of cats specifically have been taken in during this time. Dogs are getting adopted really well. That's so great to see. But like cats have been, there's still a lot of cats out there looking for homes. So yeah, we donated to those guys. That's on LinkedIn. We'll be posting that a little bit later today. So yeah, just trying to find ways to support our neighbors, let people know we're thinking about them.
Great. Are there any other strategies that you're using to survive the pandemic, personally or on a business level?
Yeah, on the business side, I guess I'll just wrap up on that train of thought. I think that we're trying to find a way to like just get eyes on our product a little bit more. Like we're finding like everybody's looking at screens more. We're all on our phones more. We're all on our computers more. We're doing Zoom meetings. And so we just feel like there's an opportunity to put out content daily, to be honest with you. So trying to find content that's engaging, that's educational, that's fun and informative. And so you're catering to your existing clients as well as prospects, helping them with information or trying to just, provide a smile to their day. Like we haven't hashtagged any of the words that would give people anxiety very purposefully.
Good.
And then on the personal side, I think trying to find things ergonomically, things that use my hands is huge. And so whether that's working in the garage or, trying to build something out of some wood or doing yard work, like just something that gets me moving in my body. It was some advice I got from a coach of mine. And that's been wonderful because I just feel like it's easy to be very digitally focused, and then you have more opportunity for vices, and then that can create routines possibly that aren't, allowing you to maximize your potential. So I've had to check some of those routines if they've become, not serving me. And but it helps that it's nice outside.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that it's spring, just trying to go for walks, wear your masks, avoid the massively populated areas. That's been great. Like, that's awesome that we have that opportunity.
Great. Now, you covered on it a little bit, Chris, but what other advice do you have for other small business owners during these challenging times?
There's a statistic that like 86% of small businesses like have had their business start, but I think to counter that, more and more people are wanting to work with small businesses. So I think first, if you're a small business owner and you're looking at like trying to continue to engage, like, number one, don't feel bad about trying to engage people. We're all understanding that, and we want to hear from you. And so create content, put yourself out there, put stuff out there. I think that's something that I was never comfortable even getting in front of the camera. I was like, oh, our logo and very nice aesthetic photos, and that'll do it. And so I had somebody really challenge me to like, put your face in front of the camera, provide people with educational content. On our blog, we have a video that came out recently, how to make your own pour over. We have a cold brew video coming out as well, teaching people about the history of Caldi and the very beginning of coffee. So just trying to like use education as a way to engage like your clientele, I think is a huge thing. And then, yeah, a friend of mine and I challenged each other to record a video, edit it, and put it out within a week. And that pushed me to do the pour over video. So I would challenge all of my fellow small business owners to put out something. And, you know, I think people just love the education. They're looking for engagement. I think a lot of consumers are looking to be engaged now, looking to be educated, looking for something to fill the 14 hours of the day when we're in front of the screens trying to communicate. So. Right.
Speaking of education, which has more caffeine, espresso, cold brew, or drip coffee?
You did your research. We have an article on this. So cold brew steeps anywhere from 24 to 36 hours. So the water extracts way more caffeine and it creates concentrate. So far and away, like, cold brew is great. And like, that's usually in the afternoon when I get the zoomies, it's from the cold brew. I'm a big fan of it. And you can make it right at home. I mean, you know, you can pay $8 for a can of it, but you can make it at home from your regular coffee. So yeah, I would encourage people to learn that process and get creative.
Cool. If you were to make a coffee drink, you've already heard my interview with Jimmy Nigg, so this is a spin on that question. If you were to make a coffee drink based on the pandemic, what would you call it and what would it include?
Oh man. I would call it Up All Night, which I'm definitely stealing from one of our partners, Mythology Distillery. We worked with them to make a coffee martini, and they just nailed it with the name Up All Night. So essentially, like, they're taking an espresso martini, but all you need is vodka, a little bit of coffee liqueur, and then an espresso maker. And you mix those together with a little simple syrup. You can crumble some chocolate chips. And after about 2 to 3 hours, you're ready to take on any project or perhaps the world.
I love it.
Yeah, the Up All Night, I think, plays well into the fact that, you know, people are just probably up all different hours of the night
now. Well, very cool. Yeah, no, I can relate. I was on a 5 a.m. schedule regularly before all this happened, and that has totally flown out the window. Doesn't exist anymore. So yeah. Awesome, Chris. You know, I always enjoy talking with you. And where can people find you to learn more?
Yeah, so if you Google Madre Coffee Collective, we're on Instagram. That's probably our main social platform. We are on Facebook as well, and you can just go to madrecollective.com. That's our website. That's where you can find a bunch of education. And yeah, we'd love to engage with you and hear your guys' stories too, and try to promote you. And, you know, I think it's all about the community at this point.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Again, my name is Matthew Ponzi. Yeah, definitely. So I'm the musical realtor. You could find me anywhere online. Just search me. And thank you so much for your time. And we'll hop off and catch you later.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.